Yo, this is Dorky Diggity Dave, and today we're talking about the return of the Karate Kid in Cobra Kai. Let's get into it. Welcome back, guys. We are talking about Cobra Kai, and yeah, it is pretty amazing. It's the return of Danny LaRusso going up against his arch nemesis, Johnny Lawrence, in the return of the Karate Kid. This is 35 years later, and when I saw the commercials for this and I saw like all the different ads and some of the previews and the trailers, I was kind of like, oh man, this is gonna be like a money grab type of thing where it's just like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of play on your nostalgia a little bit and get you to watch this show. It's gonna be like 1 or 2 episodes and then you're gonna be like, no, I'm done with this. No, it's nothing like that at all. It is actually awesome all the way through. So I've got a lot of really great things to say about it. Not too many bad things to say about it, but let's get a little deeper. Yeah, I said that. So to get access to this, you got 2 episodes for free on YouTube as it is now, and if you want to see more than the first 2, then you sign up for YouTube Red, but YouTube Red gives you 30 days for free, so it's kind of like a risk-free thing. The only thing about that is, after you've signed up for YouTube Red, there really isn't anything else on YouTube Red to watch in that regard. I mean, there's other things like their music and other things, but that's a whole different review altogether, I guess. But there wasn't really anything else other than Cobra Kai, so I don't know, missed opportunity there? So what you get is, it's very opposite of a money grab. You watch this thing and you're like, wow, this is actually something that there's a lot of care and attention to, and the source material is very much respected. It's not overdone, and there's a lot to love for new and old fans of the Karate Kid alike. So as you're watching it, you're just kind of like, oh man, that's cool. And they took a lot of care, as I said. They went back into the archives of the old movie, and not the old movie, well, the original movie, and they showed you the scenes that you remember, but they went back and chose different angles of those scenes. So while it feels familiar, it still feels fresh, and it kind of tricks your mind a little bit. And then if you're like a super nerd fan on it, you're just like, dude, that's awesome. That's not the original scene. They went and got that, and I mean, it just like, it adds to it. But it doesn't, it's not like that's what the show is made of, but that's just something that adds to it, and you're just like, I love how they did that. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know what I mean, but I hope you know what I mean. And the other beautiful thing is it has this awesome balance of knowing when to use levity and when not, because it's kind of like this mix of being a drama and a comedy and a sitcom all in the same thing, as well as some pretty cool action. Now, whenever it gets into like the high stakes of what the original movie was, because back in the 80s, everything that was serious is almost kind of like laughable now. It's not really as serious as it once was, and they're very, very aware of this. So as you're watching it, whenever stakes really start to ramp up, they know exactly when to joke it down, and you're like, silly 80s. You know what I mean? So that is very, very well done within the show, and it's interweaved into everything. Now, the new characters that they introduce have a lot of parallels to the original as well, but they're not married to it, and that's what the beauty is in that regard, because they can easily just make this like a derivative thing and just kind of copy everything, but it evolves itself from, you know, the 80s into the new with the new characters. So not only do you have this nostalgic connection to the original the original characters, you also have this connection now to the new characters. So at any point in time, they can keep this thing moving. Like, you know, this is going beyond 1 season for sure. Now, somewhere between like 70 to 80% of the show, I forget what episode it is, I started to get this feeling like, you know what, maybe the honeymoon is over. Maybe this isn't as awesome as I thought, because they can't keep this up. And once you start feeling like it's going to be repetitive, because it never does, but once you get the feeling like, okay, I may have had enough of this, they switch it up. And I think that's genius, because that means somebody watched this thing and really pointed out a section where, you know what, I think this is where it's starting to get a little long in the tooth, and we need to do something right here. And right as I was starting to solidify that thought, it was like, bam, and I was like, wow, called my wife up, and I'm like, hey, the show just got real good, because I had to watch it without her, because I watch faster than she does. Not like I can watch faster, but I binge harder than she does, whatever. Anyway, she's like, is it more awesome than it was when we were watching it? And I'm like, yes. And so she's like, cool. And I was like, yeah. I think one of my favorite aspects of the show is the fact that they take these like 80s stereotypes and they turn them around into the modern day and make it, and they really kind of like outline how ridiculous some of the things that we used to know and believe back then translate into now, because there are certain characters that never actually transcended out of the 80s, and it's done to perfection in my opinion. And one of the big surprises is you would think that after they haven't acted for a while, you know, like Machio and Zabka kind of coming back in, they just came right in. And Zabka actually's got some depth on his character, and there's a lot of twists and turns and things that you wouldn't expect in the show. And I really don't want to ruin any of that for you. What I do know is that if you love Karate Kid and you love like that whole feeling, that whole nostalgic feeling, the 80s feeling, they've captured that, put it into a new genre, and launch something pretty special. So if you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. Absolutely. Verdict time, guys. Well, I don't know if you didn't know, but I loved this series. I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. I think this is something that everyone needs to watch. Even if you didn't know what Karate Kid was, you might watch this and then go back and then watch Karate Kid and discover something pretty amazing. So I always love Karate Kid. I love the movies. I've watched it more times than I can count, along with Back to the Future, and I wonder if there would be something cool with Back to the Future, something like that, but I don't know. I don't want any remakes because it was already too good. Never mind. That's besides the point. This is awesome. Go ahead and check it out. It's worth your 30-day trial, absolutely. Just make sure you cancel before it's over if you don't want it any further. I'm sure you can find it in other places, but I don't know where you would find that, but I don't know. Point is, it's a great show. It's worth your time. Check it out, and I'd love to hear what you guys think, and you know where you can do that? Right in the regular place in the comments below. And if you liked the video, and I hope that you did, go ahead and click subscribe, click like, leave a comment, share it with your friends, share it with your mama. All that stuff helps me out. And remember, stay dorky, and I'll catch y'all on the flip.